seems fair to me.
Donnybrook is made possible by the support of the Betsy and Thomas Patterson Foundation and the members of 9PBS.
Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Donnybrook. We have a lot to talk about tonight, including how you can join us next May the 8th for Donny Bash 2025. Details forthcoming. But first, let's meet the panelists, starting with Wendy Wiese from the Big 550 KTRS. Bill McClellan from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and STLtoday.com. Sarah Fenske from St. Louis Magazine, STLmag.com, and from the St. Louis American, Alvin Reid. Well, Bill, your colleague Robert Cohen took a photo of Busch Stadium about 7 days ago during the national anthem before a St. Louis Cardinals game, and honestly, in his photo of the stands, I think there were 12 or 15 people. And it was kind of shocking, so shocking, I do believe that that photo had 468,000 views and climbing, probably to this day, on Twitter, now known as X. And it was really shocking to see so few people in the seats. Do you think that speaks poorly of Cardinal Nation, which likes to think of itself as the best fans in baseball?
Well, I'm very unbiased about this, you know, being a lifelong Cub fan. But, yeah, I think that the Cardinal fans are very spoiled. And they just win and they win and they win. And, you know, the Cubs every 119 years or something. And I remember as a child going to games when there was hardly anybody there. And there was something nice about it and joyful about it. You know, the few, the proud. And I think that if I were a Cardinal fan, I would relish these days when there's nobody there.
Now, didn't Lee Elia comment on the Cub fan that was at the game back when no one was there? Well, they were all drunk and unemployed.
He did. Lee Elia was the Cub manager.
Yeah.
And the Cubs were having a predictably bad year, and they booed Lee Elia. And so he had a rant after the game in which he was saying, you know, most of the world is employed and they're working people. And this was when Wrigley Field was day games only. He said, but the unemployed, those bums are out here.
He did say this.
Wow.
But so anyway, growing up here, all right, and like I was checking another year, and the Cardinals finished, I think, like maybe even as much as 18 games over 500. But they finished third in the National League because this is before they went to the divisions. And if you went, like in September, that old Busch Stadium was kind of half empty. Now, you know, times have changed and, you know, the game started later and all that. But I think it's just like water finds its level. And what the Cardinals have done over the last 3 years is just people reacting like, not that we hate the team or not that we this or that. Maybe it's just not worth the effort. Even though I have the tickets, it's just not worth the effort. And may I say, everybody who writes it, it's the crime. It's not the crime. If the Cardinals were about to enter the playoffs in first place in the division, the place would still be packed. So it is.
And I think the only crime that is still on the minds of people in Cardinal Nation, a proud group of people, Mr. Cub fan. I think the crime was firing Mike Schilt. I really do, seriously. And then replacing him with Ali Marmal, and then you know you have John Mozeliak, who continues to linger. I think right now we are looking for some blood. I mean, I hate to say it, but we need to rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic. We needed to do it like maybe a year ago, but I do think that's what it is. And then the broadcasters for the San Diego Padres were practically in tears
because they
couldn't believe it.
And they're one of those teams that, you know, once a year they come here, and there's other organizations too, but they did. I thought that was poignant because they were like,
They
wait a
couldn't
minute.
believe it.
And these announcers have been coming here 25 years and said, I've never seen it.
Let me say, it was 98 degrees. It was muggy.
It was terrible.
An afternoon game after the kids went back to school. The conditions were absolutely prime for people not to show up. I think Wendy is correct, and the fans are frustrated. But I do think, I'm sorry, Bill, I think these are the best fans in baseball. I was so surprised when I moved here from Cleveland, and I still have Cleveland family that will come visit, and they're like, wow, this is not just a bunch of drunk hooligans. These people are actually watching the game.
Yeah.
And at this point, they're kind of voting with their dollars to send a message to the front office. That's part of being a good fan.
That's exactly.
Well,
They're discerning. They're discerning fans.
Being looking into the past, as always, I remember when, if anybody sold out, it was a big deal. Like, you know, the announcement.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
you know, this one might be a sellout today. And,
Yeah.
and now, if you don't sell out, you know.
You know, isn't it true, though, that these things are ebb and flow? Like you mentioned Cleveland. Now, the Guardians, formerly the Indians, they're in first place. I'm sure they're packing them in. Mizzou has sold out 4 of its football games already this year. That's 61,000 people. So if the team was winning, despite the heat, and I think crime has a little bit to do with it, but it's all winning.
And
If the team wins, people will show up.
And I do remember the 70s and in the early 70s and going with my grandmother to a game, and there was nobody there. And you're right, it is kind of a neat.
No.
kind of a
You
neat
should have been
feeling.
in Cleveland in the 70s.
Oh, I know. You said
when there was a foul ball, you could walk to it. And that's actually true.
yes.
Well, the stadium.
Sarah knows
the
that.
stadium set 80,000 people too.
If the 80,000 people showed up.
No, I'm just saying that.
But even still, Alvin, isn't it true, though, that the Cardinals are about 7th in attendance in Major League Baseball this year?
But they're panicking. But also, stadiums are smaller now. Like the Cardinals, if they were in the old stadium, this many people showed up. Whoa.
Hey, how about Chesterfield? It's been announced, and we know, Sarah's been reporting on this, the demolition of the Chesterfield Mall for a $2 billion downtown in Chesterfield, of all places. This is a Michael Steinberg project, a guy who kind of has the Midas touch. When he touches something, it turns to gold, whether it's the factory or the mall or projects around the country. Do you think, Alvin, that St. Louis and Clayton should be concerned because he is going to be taking businesses and residents from those downtowns to Chesterfield?
No, I think it's a good project. I think it's great for Chesterfield, and you could call it whatever you want to. But the whole downtown and like people are now going to be like really going out of their way to go there. No, it'll attract people from around there, and you always forget it'll attract people west of there. People from Wentzville will drive over. But this whole thing where everybody's going to abandon the county and the city, you know, they may leave the city, they may leave the county, but it's not necessarily for this project. Because it's just going to be like a whistles and bells, and I'm sure it'll have an Applebee's in it, and, you know, we got those around us.
No. Now, that's what people used to say about Chesterfield and St. Charles. That Applebee's, Denny's. You know, Ian Frobe recently looked at the top 100 restaurants in the area. I was surprised at the number that are in St. Charles. I mean, that old thinking that it's Applebee's in Chesterfield is yesterday.
You want to bet that there's Applebee's in it?
Yeah, I will bet you
okay,
that.
all right.
I do not see that. Hey, and don't
I
laugh.
think it's a bad thing. I just have a bad vibe about this new downtown in Chesterfield taking away from the city, taking away from Clayton. I think it will.
I don't want to sound like, why would somebody move or live in Chesterfield, Wendy? I'm not saying that. I am like, you know, Chesterfield ain't, I just don't see like, you know, panacea. I'm like, you drive by it on the way someplace else and okay, Chesterfield Mall.
It's a happening place now.
Clayton might have a little something to worry about. Clayton's downtown feels very dead right now.
I
but
agree.
the idea that somebody who likes the diversity of the city, wants to be close to the big arts and cultural institutions, that they're suddenly going to move to Chesterfield just because there's this kind of walkable district. I think when he says downtown,
Sister,
he just means
I
this
gotta
is
tell
walkable.
you something. Chesterfield now has the St. Louis Speaker Series. It's probably not going to lose it when Powell Hall reopens. It's got the Factory, which has a lot of great musical groups and comedians.
No, I think the
and
Factory's
on
great.
a regular basis.
Where's Hamilton playing right now?
Yeah,
in Chesterfield?
exactly.
It's at the Fox.
I'm glad
Until next time.
Wendy's getting a
Until next
little
time.
bit of culture out where
Yeah.
she lives. We
Thank
can
you
afford
so much, Sarah.
to spare it.
Thank
We
you.
have so
Thank
much
you.
here in the center
That
of the
is
city.
so kind of you to recognize your embarrassment of riches in the city. No, I mean, I have have been to these places, and you said Cleveland has, right? They have a downtown.
The suburb I'm from.
Yeah,
has a
it's
downtown.
it's kind of Disney-fied downtown. It's on a smaller scale. I don't think that it's time for downtown St. Louis to roll up its sidewalks.
No. Steinberg knows what he's doing.
understand
And
that
this
he
is not
does.
going to be like Westlake, Ohio. This is going to be like Cherry Creek, Colorado, or Carmel, Indiana, where a lot of businesses and people move to. And this is ask Michael. This is the idea. And, if St. Louis doesn't grow its population, his growth will come from somewhere, all right? So where's it going to be?
Okay.
Clayton, St. Charles, Wentzville. That's where it's
Why
gonna
not
be.
downtown
Because
St.
if you
Louis
want the true,
already?
If you want the true city experience, I'm sorry, you don't move to Chesterfield. I think it will be successful.
And I don't think that
it's
we.
different.
I don't think we want to relish the idea of downtown St. Louis, which is our hub, becoming a sinkhole. We don't want it.
Well, I
and
think
it
we're
would
too
even
late.
still be closer to,
Yeah.
like, if it wasn't, and I'm not
Okay.
saying mine.
Hold your
but-
thought,
all
Alvin,
right,
because we're getting the timeout sign
Okay.
because now it's our turn to tell you how you can join us for really a great live broadcast and fundraiser for 9 PBS. We call it Donnie Bash.
There is so much more to come from Donnybrook. Hi, I'm Marianne Carson, and welcome to the 9 PBS studios. We're glad you're with us. And we want you to know that we have some great ways of saying thank you when you join us now as a member of 9 PBS. The Donnybrook guys, well, they've been on the air for 37 years now. Can you believe it? 37 years as we celebrate our 70th birthday this year. And with that in mind, one of our great ways of saying thank you is the commemorative mug for this 70th birthday. And for $75, that mug will be yours. Our way of saying thank you for being a member of 9 PBS. Now, a single ticket to Donnie Bash, and let me tell you the date, it's on Thursday, May 8th of 2025. A single ticket is $95, and that is a one-time contribution. But I've got to tell you something, the best deal around is to become a sustaining member of 9 PBS at $15 a month, and here's what you get. You get the 70th birthday mug. You also get not one, but 2 tickets to Donnie Bash on that Thursday, May 8th. What a great deal. So the mug, celebrating the 70th birthday, and 2 tickets to Donnie Bash, all of that yours when you become a sustaining member for $15 a month right here. Now you can call or text the word GIVE to 800-568-9099. And a lot of folks like to join by going online, which is at 9pbs.org. That's NINEPBS.org. Either way, it's so easy to join us. And we want to make sure that you are in the audience for Donnie Bash when it celebrates next year on May 8th, and that's a Thursday. Now, my good friend, Yale Hollander, is over on the set of Donnybrook with the other cast members. Let's go over and join them right now.
You are looking live at the big table, a little more crowded than usual because I'm here, but I'm here for a good reason. This is a special occasion. Everybody who's here tonight usually is engaged in a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of disagreement, a little bit of debate, all very polite. Tonight, right now, we're going to talk about something that everybody agrees on, and that is Donnie Bash. It's going to be May the 8th, 2025, and it's a very special night, and I'm just curious, knowing what a big night it is, how do you all prepare for Donnie Bash?
Well, there's a couple of bottles of wine backstage. No, you gear up because you're going to be not only doing our thing on stage, but we're going to meet people before and then meet people after. So it is one that you say like, wow, okay, I got to, it's going to be a show, so let's show. But it's a whole day of kind of like in your mind mental prep. Not that we're any more knowledgeable than we are. Yeah.
I feel like you guys have been doing this long enough that you can fully enjoy it. I am just a bundle of nerves. Like I'm like,
gosh, you do
this
so
is
well.
No, it's so intimidating. But then you get there and everyone is so nice that you end up having a great time. Like it really takes it all away.
Well, and the whole live television, if you stop to think about what could happen on live television, you do get a little, flustered, but we've got such a great crew and everybody is, having fun and just going with it, especially the audience.
And I have a grandchild walk me onto the stage.
That's right, the ringers.
It's either Tino or Evie, and then Evie asks a question later. So it's really exciting for me just because it's something that the grandkids enjoy.
Well, she's like Helen Thomas now, Bill, at the, right? From United.
She gets the first person.
PI. Yeah, she gets the ceremonial last. I mean, even though Helen got the first.
She got the first.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's just it's something that everybody expects.
And we
It has
got to
so much
remind
fun.
everybody, this is our big fundraiser. This is how we make money here at 9 PBS to bring you great programs. The other night I saw a wonderful documentary on Stan Musial, and I think it was like 3 hours long. You don't get that anywhere else, but 9 PBS is coming through with that. And so it's a lot of fun, and it's the way that we pay for the lights and the rent.
That's right.
And we do have to do that. Yeah. I mean, right, exactly. That reminded me, I saw a thing on Nova about cats and being a cat owner. It was fantastic. I learned some stuff about cats that I did not know.
I'll be darned. What'd you learn?
Oh, well, just about how basically everybody says, well, cats were domesticated, in Egypt, but there were other places where they were domesticated too. But there's that whole thing where it said like, well, that whole cross the Red Sea, and if they were in Egypt, how did they get to other parts of Asia? And basically the people grabbed the cats and everything else and fled, for the Pharaoh, but they actually took some of their cats. It was wild.
That's right. You can't train a cat.
It's all in there. Find that on PBS.
I saw part of that.
Because it talks about that.
They were getting cats.
It does, and now you know, if you go to Donny Bash on May the 8th, you can talk about cats with Alvin Reid. Who knew?
You can do that.
All right, we're going to send it back to the studio in Marianne.
Thanks, guys. And I thought it might be really fun to hear some of the comments from those of you who've been to Donny Bash in the past. And one comment said, it's great to have true access to the Donnybrook cast. And well-planned, lots of friendly volunteers, informal. Another one of you said, the atmosphere of happy people and the sound of laughter. Someone else said, the food is excellent. Keep this caterer. Also, someone said, being part of a live broadcast and meeting the panelists and being able to watch how the broadcast is done. All of those are great comments, and we know what a wonderful time so many of you had, and we are so glad. We don't want you to miss this opportunity to be there for the next Donny Bash. The date is Thursday, May 8th of 2025, and you can be there in so many easy ways. If that date doesn't work out for you and you would like to celebrate our 70th birthday for a one-time contribution of $75, your membership thank you gift is this 9 PBS 70th birthday mug. Now, if you would like to have a single ticket to Donny Bash, that's yours with a one-time membership of $95. But here is the best deal of all. When you join as a sustaining member at simply $15 a month, you get not only the 70th birthday mug to enjoy, you get not one, but 2 tickets to Donny Bash. So any way that you think of it, it's really a great way to be with us as a member and also to be on hand in the audience for Donny Bash. Now, you can call or text the word GIVE to 800-568-9099. And a lot of folks prefer to join us online, and it's so easy. You just go online to 9pbs.org. That's NINE PBS.org.
Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you, and appreciate seeing you next May at the Sheldon. All right, Sarah, I want to ask you about maybe the latest kerfuffle in, I don't know how you would describe this, but there is a dance troupe called the Canaan Wellspring Dabkey Dance Troupe. It's comprised of Palestinian dancers, and they thought they had an agreement with the St. Louis Art Fair, which is this weekend in the aforementioned Clayton, and they thought, hey, we're going to dance there and entertain people who are enjoying the art and the music and all that. Well, it didn't work out, and as it turns out, the dance group was kind of uninvited. Maybe the T's were never crossed, the I's were never dotted, but there were emails that went back and forth, and apparently leaders of the art fair weren't sure exactly what this dance group was all about. It had never performed publicly before, and there were some sponsors that they were concerned about too, just in case, who knows, in these times which are very sensitive, who knows what was going to happen. Do you think that the art fair officials acted reasonably?
I don't think they did. I think this was handled in kind of a shabby way. You know, an intern for the art fair was assigned to go recruit some groups, apparently, you know, different dance troupes, performers from around the world to be a part of this. She sought this group out, and there was room for them on the schedule, and they were invited to participate. When they said yes, rather than the leaders just gently putting the kibosh on this, they just kind of like ghosted them, made up pretexts like there wasn't room in the schedule when there actually was, because they were worried about the controversy. It seems like just a shabby way to treat people. And this intern, I have to give this intern some credit. She ended up, you know, sort of saving the receipts and sharing them, and then quitting her job over this because she just didn't like the way it was handled. And I think one of the things that bothers me most about modern life is we can't just be direct with each other. If we see a controversy coming, we're like, oh, I'll duck and I'll pretend we don't have room in the schedule. If there's somebody that you recruited and you don't have the guts to have them perform on your stage, you owe it to them to tell them that.
Yeah, but I mean, as Charlie said, this is such a high, as you know better than anybody, this is such a hyper-sensitive time. And the 6 hostages brutally found murdered like 12 hours before they were supposed to be released. You know, that story is still being processed when this story is published in the newspapers and coming to light. And I know in a perfect world, Sarah, I think you're absolutely right, but I just think there is so much pain on the part of the St. Louis Jewish community, the worldwide Jewish community. They don't want something to interfere with the art fair. They don't want it to become a violent, you know, type of protest, or even just a loud protest. They have sponsors. This is not a United Nations sanctioned event. This is the art fair. And I do think it was kind of really sad the way they threw the intern under the bus. But trying to avoid a controversy with a backdrop of so much pain, I understand it.
Wouldn't it have been better, though, Wendy, if they would have talked to the group and said, hey, here are our concerns. You know, this is an art fair. We don't want anything political. Can you live up to that? And if these are just dancers, a dance group, native dancing of Palestine, and they said, yeah, if they would say, we understand and we'll comply with that, and maybe you don't have them up there for half an hour or something, just 15 minutes, it just seems like that would have been such a better way to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, is all Palestinian culture now off limits? I get that you don't want a political dance in the middle of this festival, but to say we can't have any Palestinians here.
If the dance troupe had some sort of record of performance, that'd be one thing. But it was organized by an intern who's really not responsible. And I actually have questions. Why is this intern's name not being published? You know, she's making allegations, or he is, and getting away with it with anonymity. But for the dance troupe never to have danced before, I think that raises some justifiable questions.
I think it's art, and if we're going to combat whatever is going on in this world, art is the first place that is probably going to happen. And I just think that was one opportunity where you just declare, look, they're going to dance for 15 minutes, and if you don't want to support us anymore, you hate us now, we're just not backing down. People have to decide when, in their own world, that we're making this decision. And whoever this troupe is, you basically, Wendy, they're terrorists. They're killers, they're murderers, they're terrorists too. And that's not fair. That's just not
but
fair.
I mean, I think the Palestinian, the group's spokesperson who was quoted, Palestinians love life, they love life, and I get that. But the deaths of these 6 hostages and the unknown future of the hundreds of others, or the 130 others, is unknown. It's just, I think it's awfully fresh, and I would not expect an LGBTQIA, a pro, gay rights group to accept, some kind of, anti-gay rights group, nor would I expect a black.
But you just declared that this dance troupe is anti-Jewish.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I said that we should be sensitive, in my opinion, to the fact that this is not a UN-sanctioned event.
Right.
This is an art fair, and people are
apparently
hurting.
the group is going to dance at noon in Shaw Park. At least they've alerted the city that they're going to do that. Let's say they establish a track record of dancing, and they did dance once at the Festival of Nations since their booking, so they have one public appearance. Maybe the art fair organizers can say, okay, if you establish yourselves next year. Wouldn't that be when we know something about you? But don't forget, things are curated all the time. Art is rejected all the time for various reasons.
And then reject. And Festival of Nations had the guts to be like, we're going to put Palestinian dancers on our stage. I didn't hear a word of controversy around that.
I didn't either. So
people handled it.
Well, the sponsors between the Festival of Nations and the art fair in Clayton might be different.
How about this, Wendy? There's about $30 million in American Rescue Plan money, Act money, that is associated with COVID and the pandemic that hasn't been spent yet by St. Louis County. I mean, this is stuff for sewers, tourism, demolition of homes, child care, and it's just sitting there. And the county executive claims, well, we don't have the staff to make sure that the spending is in compliance with federal standards. So here we are, 4.5 years after COVID started. We still haven't spent that money. I say send it back to Washington, because we obviously don't need it.
Well, you know how much it upsets me when I agree with you, but I do agree with you, especially when the county executive's whereabouts are so difficult to pin down. Is he is he sitting behind his desk in Clayton, or is he at SSM, Health? Anyway, I really feel for these people. $28 million, you're talking about some awful, awful living conditions. And they were so excited that it was finally going to happen. And now the general revenue fund idea on the part of the county executive is it's despair. You read every single comment in the coverage, and they're just despairing because they've come so close, but they know that in terms of earmarks and what has to happen there, they know they're never going to have that resolution.
It just seems like a money grab on the part of Sam Page that, well, we're going to take care of everybody, but right now let's just put it in general revenue.
General revenue,
I
right.
mean, if you can't balance the budget, and I'm sure it's difficult to do, just say it. Don't pretend like, well, we're going to use this COVID money, but it'll go to the right people.
Right.
I just don't have the staff to do it. I mean, he's just grabbing the money to put in general revenue. It's awful.
But does that mean we send it back to the feds? I
Well,
mean,
no,
Bill, you
of
made a
course,
good point, but
no,
this is our money.
I didn't mean that.
Maybe the threat. See, I'm okay with
Look,
saying,
if we can't be good stewards of federal money, we should send it back.
No.
It's $30 million.
Charlie, I thought you were just kind of putting us on there.
No, I'm
of
not
course
putting you
we're not going
on.
to send it back. There's so much of a need for
What are
it.
we, $36 trillion in debt? Your grandkids are going to be paying that forever.
Well, that's my grandkids. They're smart.
Yeah. Alvin, Reid, what do you
They're
think?
okay.
Well,
They'll be fine.
I'm just kind of like, one, I am glad that there was not this just like hurricane rush to spend this money. Has it taken too long? Yes. Am I kind of down with the general fund? No, because remember the whole the riverboat gambling thing was going to be for education, but it went into the general fund first. But I do think it will be spent. I do think it will be spent wisely. Timing, too long, but I will give the county the benefit of the doubt. Not the county executive necessarily, but there's enough council members and all that where it will get to where it needs to go but it does need to be soon. And I said I would be running out of patience at the beginning of 2024. So I'm really out of patience now, but setting it back is absolutely out.
With 30 seconds to go, isn't the big issue? These leaders in the city and the county, they don't know what they're doing. They have hundreds of millions of dollars in Cronky money, hundreds of millions of dollars in the COVID money,
ARPA.
and it's not going out the door.
But see, it's kind of like I said before, like, okay, somebody someplace has to say yes or no. And that's what, like, oh, this group of people is going to be mad. And if I do this, this group of people is going to be
It's
mad.
analysis
And you
paralysis.
just got to say,
Yeah.
like, look, somebody's going to be mad. So just.
But you
Hey,
have, you have
let's hope
utility
that it's not
poles,
going
you have
out the door.
sinkholes
Yes.
that are
Okay.
Hold that.
swallowing neighborhoods.
That'll be the last
County.
word, because now it's our time to thank you and to invite you to Donny Bash 2025.
Well, we have more Donnybrook for you to enjoy, but right now, we want to talk about just what your membership dollars mean to us here at 9 PBS. Because it's because of your membership dollars that we have been able to broadcast Donnybrook to you for 37 years. And that's just part of the history here at 9 PBS. We are celebrating our 70th birthday, and the reason that we have such wonderful programs, it's because of you, our members. So thank you if you have supported us in the past. And if you are not a member, well, let's change that right now, because we have great ways of saying thank you when you do join us. When you become a member with a one-time membership of $75, we will gift you with this beautiful 70th birthday mug. This is a limited edition as we celebrate our 70th birthday this year. Now, if you would like to go to the next Donny Bash, the date is on Thursday, May 8th, and you can be there with a single ticket for a one-time payment of $95. But we've got such a great deal that we don't want you to miss out on. When you become a sustaining member right now, for $15 a month, you get it all. You get the commemorative mug celebrating our birthday. You get not one, but 2 tickets to Donny Bash at the Sheldon Concert Hall on Thursday, May 8th. And you will be there live for the broadcast. You won't miss any of the fun, and believe me, it is such a great evening. If you've been there before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you've never attended, why not right now? Call us at 1-800-568-9099 or join us online at 9pbs.org. That's NINEPBS.org. We want to join the Donnybrookers and my good friend Yale Hollander right now. They're in the other studio. Let's join them right now.
Thank you, Marianne. Donny Bash is an evening in 3 acts. You have the pre-show, which is a cocktail reception where the folks assembled before you right now will interact and mingle, shall I say, with you. Then we have the main event, which is a double dose of Donny Bash. How's that for alliteration? It's a full 60-minute show featuring, at the end of it, audience participation. You get a live Q&A session, another opportunity to interact with the Donnybrook team. And then following the show, there is a lovely dessert reception where, once again, you will have an opportunity to meet, mix, and mingle with the Donnybrookers.
More alliteration.
More alliteration.
More
Yes,
alliteration.
more alliteration. Well, it's public television. It's educational. We need to kind of keep it up a little bit. But I want to talk to all of you because this truly is a community event. And what are your thoughts and recollections on some of the great moments in just dealing with your adoring public?
Well, it's many communities, including Illinois, and including me a little farther west than you might think. So, one, I know we cover, a pretty large area with 9 Network, but, it's one of those things that, like, wow, people watch the show from Greenville to almost to Jefferson City. And that's kind of cool, and I think people learn a lot about St. Louis, that it's not, just the worst place on earth to live from our show. But, like I say, it's almost like we know a lot of the people that are to be there, but the people we meet for the first time are still like part of our little family.
Yeah, there aren't any strangers. And what's really wonderful is that this Donnybrook community, the people seem, whether they've ever laid eyes on each other or not, they make fast friends. Like, have you noticed that? Like, everybody's, talking and just really getting along, and you're like, did you two come together? No, we just met. That kind of stuff. You see a lot of that. And you realize that what I think Donnybrook's appeal has always been, and I think the way you guys designed it, was that even though you disagree, you don't have to be disagreeable. And that has always been something that people have mentioned.
So what I'm taking away from this is that you don't have to bring anybody to Donny Bash. You can buy one ticket and you will almost guaranteed to walk out with a friend.
Well,
Not you, Yale. I mean, most people, not you, of course, but
I have no friends.
I'm kidding. Of course you do. Well, no, we want you to buy blocks of tickets. We want you to buy
some
50.
families do,
That's
absolutely.
right. That's
and
right.
People buy gifts for many occasions. Today happens to be my wife's birthday. Beth, happy birthday wherever you are.
And my daughter's birthday.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kate or Maggie?
Kate.
Oh wow! Happy birthday, Kate!
So now we know what we're giving them.
Exactly.
Don't tell. Don't tell.
We're going to call that number, 800-568-9099, so we can help Channel 9 and present a great gift.
Well, it's interesting that you mention it as a gift because May 8th, Mother's Day.
That's right.
Father's Day is right down the corner.
Christmas.
Right
Yeah, which around the corner.
Sure,
Yeah.
why not
right.
buy them now and let them have the anticipation
It's
of
also
5 months.
a stocking stuffer.
There you go.
Absolutely.
There you go.
And you do see so many people there with this is my dad. This
That's
is my
right.
dad. It's
Yes,
awesome.
yes, and
You do.
It's fun, generational, and
It is fun.
it's a
And
ball.
with that, we're going to send it back to the studio for more fun with Marianne.
Thank you, Yale. And I love reading some of the comments that you all submitted after the last Donny Bash. This was on my bucket list. My husband and I were glad we went. We look forward to next year's Donny Bash. Someone else wrote and keep up the good work. Also, it was great from start to finish. Love to be able to gift tickets to Donny Bash for holidays and birthdays. Just as the crew over there across with Yale was just saying, it's a wonderful way to gift somebody special on your list. And let's remind you of our other ways of saying thank you. If you want to send in a one-time contribution of $75, you will enjoy the birthday mug celebrating 70 years on 9 PBS. Now, if you would like one ticket to Donny Bash on Thursday, May 8th, that's a one-time contribution of $95. But I'll tell you what, we've got the best deal of all right now, because when you join us at $15 a month as a sustaining member, you get not only the 70th birthday mug, and you get not one, but 2 tickets to Donny Bash on that May 8th on Thursday evening. So that is a great way to enjoy your membership and be in the audience for Donny Bash on May 8th and help bring us another 30 years of Donnybrook, because that's what your membership dollars do. That's what your membership dollars go to, is great programming right here on 9 PBS. You make it happen. Thank you very much for being there.
We'll see you in May. Sarah Fenske, I want to ask you about a very thoughtful column you wrote this past week after spending 10 years of your life here in St. Louis. It was the 10 things you want to share with your readers. One of them was you feel a lot of fear and hostility out there toward the city by people who don't live in the city. Explain that.
I do. This was, of the 10 points that I made, this is the one that just overwhelmed my inbox. I heard from so many city residents who said, thank you, this is what we're feeling. That people outside of the city presume that we're living in a hellhole. And we know that we're not living in a hellhole. And we understand the city has flaws. Many of us are very internally critical of them. And we understand there's some neighborhoods that are really struggling. But there are also so many lovely neighborhoods. And we feel safe and happy. And we're supportive of life here and want to encourage other people to join us. And it feels like just saying that is like the most shocking thing to some county residents.
No, I was just going to say that, being, like I say, from the inner ring suburb, never really had the animosity toward the city that I read about.
Thank you, Alvin.
And I kind of always thought that, well, first of all, you know, it's right there. We go there all the time. And I don't, there's a sense that people get some enjoyment by trashing everybody and everything in the city. And I really do want to ask them, this is one of those things where I said, like, you never go to the city, do you? They said, no, I don't ever go because of this or that. And I said, no, I didn't ask you that. Do you ever go at all? No. Well, then, you have, right.
Okay, but I'm sorry, just speaking as the representative from Chesterfield, where everybody, the outer ring, where we all have alligators and the moats around our subdivision. I'm trying to figure out why I'm not supposed to sense any hostility with the bumper stickers that I've seen for dozens of years. Friends don't let friends live in Chesterfield. I mean, it's so goofy, and I love you. You know that I love you, and you are entitled to every feeling that you have, but so are the people whose people grew up in the city and moved out to the county. You know, we used to go to the various neighborhoods, and this is where Grandpa lived, and this is where Grandma was a scrubby Dutch, and they cleaned the, they cleaned the front porch, and then the neighborhood started to go down, and so we moved out to Florissant, or that's part of our history.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I have never heard anybody say in polite conversation or otherwise, these city dwellers. I would say, why do you care? Why do you care? Because you've got like you said, you've got a beautiful life, you've got a beautiful home, you have beautiful friends of diversity and all that. I just wouldn't care.
I guess I feel, I'll have conversations regularly with people who are like, oh, is that safe? Or, oh, should you be raising children there? And it just feels so out of touch with my experience. And these are, in some cases, family members.
In many cases, it's not safe. The homicides are very high by national and international standards.
But where do they get shot? Sarah doesn't live where people are getting shot, and neither do I.
I'm not
But it does happen. That's in the city, and the buses aren't showing up for the kids. So someone might rightfully, reasonably say, "Why are you sending your kids to single schools?"
Charlie, it also happens a lot in North County.
Right.
I mean, it's a cultural thing. This is not a.
I don't know about the buses.
Well, that's a school district, and their problems.
No, they've had big problems.
Has had many issues.
They have.
And James Neal Prim, the historian from UMSL, wrote about this in 1989 at the end of his book, Lion in the Valley. He says that people move out of the city, and they don't just move out, but they move out and they hate it. And why did 500,000 people move out?
That's nonsense.
No, well,
that's complete nonsense. People move for a variance of reasons, and they hate it.
No, that's true. That is true. There are people who don't.
I don't know who this man is. I don't know who.
He was an eminent historian.
Well, he is full of it. All right,
he's no longer with us to defend himself.
I think we're evolving to the place where the city and county don't hate each other. We all hate St. Charles.
That's correct.
That's correct.
I hear bad things about St. Charles all the time. Why should they go to the zoo for nothing?
City dwellers don't like St. Charles.
We grew up here. But now where I grew up, Chesterfield was like Pluto. Once you got past it, who knows what else out there?
Cornfields. Yes, there were cornfields.
So I'm done.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Why did 600,000 people move out of the city?
And they did.
No, I can tell you the first thing. One, you got a bigger house for less money with a bigger yard. That's what started taking people out of the city. I'm just saying, that's what started taking people out of the city. Why did nobody want to live in Southeast Kirkwood when, my grandparents' house was there and all that? Why was it like, well, that's kind of the bad side of Kirkwood or whatever. Now, you know what I got around me? Everywhere. Many mansions cost more than $1 million. Everybody's trying to oh, wait a minute. This is right next to downtown Kirkwood. And downtown Kirkwood is happening.
Look,
and nobody wanted to live there.
There are a lot of problems with city living. The streets aren't plowed when it snows.
Well, that's
the
been
river
100 years, Charlie.
No, exactly. That's what we're saying. And guess what? They're plowed elsewhere. And the schools are still underperforming. You wrote about that in your most recent edition of St. Louis American. The buses aren't showing up. What kind of school system doesn't have buses show up for the kids? But we take that for granted.
Charlie, you're a little wound up here. I just want to say I've been here now 10 years.
Take a deep breath, Charlie.
10 years. And as Alvin likes to say, my slogan can be, city. Nothing happened to me. I've had a great experience here, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere other than the city. And I am proud of that. That's all I'm saying.
That is a much older person. I am telling you, then you should just relish and enjoy that. And if people are rude enough to say to you, how could you send your children? How could you? It just, you know, buy them a cup of coffee and tell them to have a nice day. It annoys me, and I think we can get to it, that kind of like, all right, no matter what happens in the city, okay, they said like, all right, something, nobody's going to the Cardinal game. The first two comments are, it's because of a criminal hellhole. All right, the lotus that's going to bloom every 100 years at the Shaw Garden. Nobody wants to see that because there's too much. All right, you know, like Lindbergh came back. It's going to land his plane. No. All right, there's too much crime. Nobody's going to do that. Yes. See, that's just hate. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
There is a real crime problem in the city,
but
compared to other American cities.
It's got to be about it. Nobody wants to do anything in St. Louis. Nobody wants to live in Holly Hills. Nobody wants to live near Carondelet Park. Nobody wants to do anything nice in St. Louis because, it's just a criminal hellhole. Right. See, that's hate. Right.
Thank you, Alvin.
Hey, right.
Thank you. Alvin said this also much better than I did.
I am still waiting for a reply on my question about the bumper sticker. About the bumper sticker.
Wendy, you're right. And
don't let friends live in Chesterfield.
I want to start this here. I think city and county can be friends, and we're going to start. It begins with us.
All right. Hey, we have to go to the old mailbag and see what viewers had to say about last week's program. Whatever happened to ignorance of the law is no excuse. Apparently, we should add, unless you're an elected official. That from Joanne Gladney-Naumer of St. Charles. We also heard from Bob Watson of St. Louis, who wrote, Kitty Ratcliffe could be reassigned to a closely monitored job that requires her to perform tasks as directed until her contract expires. A buyout is a poor use of public funds. Thank you, Bob. Sarah Held of South City wrote, I hope the Cardinals kept those cardboard cutouts of fans that they put in the seats during COVID. That's the only way they're going to fill the stadium. Thank you, Sarah. You can write us care of 9 PBS 3655 Olive Street, St. Louis, Missouri 63108. We love that those emails, Donnybrook at 9pbs.org, and on social media, please use hashtag DonnybrookSTL. Call the 9 line, won't you, at 314-512-9094, and make sure you listen to us whether you're at home or away on your favorite podcast source. Turns out that the Kirkwood High School Hall of Famer himself and the living legend is turning another year over in the calendar. Alvin Reid, is tomorrow your birthday?
Tomorrow is my birthday, and I thought I had escaped this. I did not mention it. All right. I think Miss Chesterfield may have something to do with this. But
all of the people.
All of the people of St. Louis.
Very happy birthday.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. All right. And part of my birthday, I'll be taking in the Yankees at the Cubs over the weekend, and also going to Champaign to see football.
Nice.
So, good for you.
All little stomping grounds.
Yeah, I was going to say. So I'll blow these out.
It's a beautiful cake. See, there are nice things in St. Louis City.
Right, exactly. Right. I said, right. Crime is a hellhole.
There we go.
Way to go.
Oh! All right. Still has a lot of breath in him. After all these many, many years.
If I can hang on about 12 more hours, I'll be 64.
Oh, man. Someone called the American Lung Association. There are a lot of candles on that cake.
I'm telling you.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us, but don't touch that dial because we're going to continue to tell you how you can join us next year for our big fundraiser, Donny Bash.
Donnybrook is made possible by the support of the Betsy and Thomas Patterson Foundation and the members of 9 PBS.
And a very happy birthday to Alvin, by the way. You know, this is, isn't it amazing how quickly Donnybrook goes? And we don't want you to get away from the program without getting a chance to become a member and without us having the chance to tell you just how important your membership is to us. You know, Channel 9 PBS, we are celebrating our 70th birthday this year. That means I think it's been 53 years of Masterpiece, 50 years of Nova, 37 years of Donnybrook, and that's all been possible with your membership dollars. We can't do it without you. Now, if you want to make a one-time contribution of $75 to 9 PBS right now, you will be gifted with the 9 mug. Now, this is a limited edition 9 PBS 70th birthday mug that you can show off at the office or just simply enjoy at home, knowing that you are supporting the programs that you love. Now, if you would like to be at the Donny Bash that's coming up, it is on a Thursday evening on May 8th of 2025 at the Sheldon Concert Hall. The tickets are $95 a piece. However, we've got a really great deal that we don't want you to miss out on. When you join us as a sustaining member right now at $15 a month, look at everything that you get. What a great combo. You get the 70th birthday mug. You also get not one, but 2 tickets to Donny Bash on May 8th, and that is at the Sheldon Concert Hall. You won't regret it if you go to Donny Bash. If you've been before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've never gone, let's change that right now. Simply call us at 1-800-568-9099, or you can join us online at 9pbs.org. And right now, let's go over and join the folks from Donnybrook, along with my good friend Yale Hollander, who's over at the Donnybrook studio right now.
Here we go.
It's no oatmeal.
Donny Bash takes place on May 8th, 2025. That's quite a bit of time from now, so you've got plenty of time to get those tickets, whether it be 1, whether it be 20, 50, 100, whatever it is. There's a lot that is going to happen between now and then, and you can bet that the group assembled here are going to have hot takes, even fresher than the new turf at the Dome to be named later. But what I want to know from everybody is to kind of gaze into your crystal balls. What do you think we're going to be talking about at Donny Bash 2025?
I'll start. I think we'll be talking about Congressman Ray Hartman.
Yep.
And some controversy that he's involved in. We just send Ray to Washington and something happens. I think we'll be talking about that.
I love it. And I feel like everybody's going to be trying to talk about crime in St. Louis, and I'm going to be pushing back as hard as I can.
That's right. But we will have just really been on the other side of the mayor's race, so we don't know what will happen there. But really, the Donny Bash crowd has a lot of opinions when it comes to the city politics.
Yeah.
And it's always...
Sometimes sports, like tonight,
Sports.
like how the new owner of the NBA franchise in St. Louis, David Stewart, is about to select a French player as the first round of the NBA draft.
No, definitely. Hey, I think a certain somebody might finally be going to trial. Maybe when May gets here, he might be president of the United States again when it happens, or he might just be a citizen. Yeah. But yeah, we'll finally get around to that probably next May.
You might be under arrest.
No, exactly. For suggesting that. Me and Ray Hartman.
But I think we'll probably be complaining about the weather because that's just what we do.
Right.
It'll be too hot.
It'll be too hot
already.
or perhaps too cold.
Right.
You never know.
All within May 8th, probably.
Yes, exactly.
It could be.
On the show.
It's
2-hour show.
That's right.
I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say that we're gonna be talking about the local winners of the Nobel Peace Prize, who are seated right here for starting, in the last segment, getting the ball rolling for city-county reunification.
That's what we did.
Sarah and Wendy will have just come back from Oslo,
Norway,
with their reward. I'm sure that they will be sharing their prize money with everybody at Donny Bash.
And I'll be peeling the sticker off the back of her car about friends never live, let friends live in Chesterfield.
Chesterfield.
Yes, and I'll be frantically putting the whole region together after the Great Divorce. You know,
That's
people
right.
can be there at Donnybrook to help with this.
That's
The
right.
Cardinals will be in a new season.
First place.
Playing very well.
Lights out.
Who will be managing them?
Alvin Reid?
You know, I'd do it for a year. I'd say like, yeah, right. Like, what can you say? What could happen? Not make the playoff?
Yeah.
Right?
So Alvin's going to be managing a ball team. We're going to have Sarah and Wendy here who are going to be enjoying the spoils of their Nobel Prize. I guess I should ask, who's going to be at the table on May the 8th?
Well, no,
and there's only one way to find out, and that's for you to buy a ticket to Donnybash, May 8th, 2025. We'll see you there. And we'll send it back to Marianne.
And I really love a lot of these comments that we've been reading this evening. And you may recognize a comment that you submitted as well. One person wrote in, just neat to see the on-air personalities live. Someone else said, panels seem to enjoy it as much as the audience. How about this comment? Being able to watch how the show is made. The chatter on stage before the show was really fun to see. And of course, the atmosphere of happy people, sound of laughter, and this comment, love to be able to gift tickets to Donnybash for the holidays and birthdays. You know, there may be somebody very special on your list coming up with a special occasion. Why not gift them tickets to Donnybash? The date, once again, Thursday, May 8th of 2025 at the Sheldon Concert Hall. Plenty of parking, and the doors open at 5:30. You'll be able to enjoy appetizers. Some of the catering there is fabulous. Let's talk about the tickets. The tickets to Donnybash are $95 a piece, but look at the deal that we have for you right now, so we don't want you to miss this one. When you become a sustaining member of 9PBS right now, at $15 a month, you will receive not only the 70th birthday mug, which is a limited edition, you'll also receive not one, but 2 tickets to Donnybash, simply for being a sustaining member at $15 a month. You do not want this opportunity to pass you by, and this is kind of the last call for this, so we don't want you to miss out this opportunity. Once again, you can call or text the word GIVE to 800-568-9099, or why not join us online at 9pbs.org. That's NINEPBS.org. But join us right now. Thank you.